Actually, I got 3 minutes. So Klaus did his brilliant presentation, I have to say. I did mine. And then there followed 17 minutes, I think, of the EU Legal Affairs Commission droning on and on and on about why they couldn't investigate. And because there was never ever an investigation seen into a sovereign state by the EU Children's Commission. And the one they all wanted was the UK, because it's so far below competence. It's just horror to them. He showed me in his office, the EU Children's Commissioner. Well, he had a few offices with different staff. The staff were lovely, I might add. Lovely people. It was like one of those cartoons. The complaints about the UK was that high, and other countries wasn't more than about 3-4 inches. And the UK was about 2 foot. They had to prop it against 2 walls to not fall over. Yeah, that describes it better than anything. And all it was from the children's, the Justice Minister, whatever in the UK, saying that as the welfare of the child is paramount consideration, and he goes to pretend puke, because that's all his work is puke. So he then came in, Rainer Wieland came back in after about 17, 18 minutes into the video, and he brilliantly outmaneuvered the legal person. I mean, it was beautiful to watch. Oh my God, it's one of the highlights of my life. And the EU Commission agreed to bring it up to the regulatory body, agreed to do an investigation in UK Family Court Services, and there's a timetable and all the rest for this. But you see, what we piggybacked, myself and Klaus, on the fact that the forced adoptions, which was endemic in the UK at that stage, particularly with foreign mothers, whose English wasn't the best. I mean, this is a war on poor people, I might add, this whole system, particularly on working class people. And but Sir James Mumby, in the meantime, had come in to a man I have deep respect for, I might add. A lot of people hate me for saying that. Well, tough luck. He really did try to bring about improvement in the family court system, but he was a lone voice, and he was outmaneuvered, and it's gone worse. But he did try. And there was a brief investigation, but in the meantime, there was a 53% reduction in forced adoptions against the wishes of both parents. Dame Justice Poffley, I think it was, did a brilliant piece on cut and paste adoptions. I have a chapter on that in the book. So with regard to my bit about the marriage process and all the rest, that got nowhere really, but they agreed that orders made in any other high court in the EU are relevant in the UK. Because before this, the UK had always said the welfare of the child is paramount and the orders from abroad don't count. I mean, like, what a joke. And they also, what's the second one we got? We got something else at the same time, but nobody ever told me. I found it out through an insider. So, you know, I often felt I'm like a mole walking away on the ground. Nobody sees what I'm doing. Yeah, this is me digging HS2. I'd dig up the whole Midlands. Nobody would know. I'll go to Wales if you want to dig underground. Teach all those Welsh miners how to go digging.
Show them how it's done.
Yeah.
Both you and I deal with litigants in persons day in and day out. And you've already talked about the fact that for any person going through court, it's going to cost money. I want to know, and you've mentioned it briefly in your book, but what would be your top tips for litigants in persons?
Well, I've done a chapter on it.
Yes.
And it's also on the London Fathers website, Litigants in Person. The first thing I would say to 95% of fathers going into the family court process is, number one, go to the local locksmith, get a lock with a combination, lock them out.
Yes.
Right? It's about the best advice I can give.
Yeah.
Because all they want to do is tell usually the other side's counsel what to think of, and do you know, and do you know. I mean, if you want to hang yourself, do it silently and quietly somewhere. Yeah, that's my advice. So number one, shut up. Two, everything you understand about logic and fair play, it's in the bin. It does not exist, right? So get that out of your head. Three, and this is the most important part, because that's the first two, there is a system. It's very rigged. It's very biased. It's overall very ineffective. But there is a system. And if you learn how to engage with the system, you have a good chance of getting a result. Now, my definition of result would be meaningful shared parenting. no less than 30-35% of the child's free time. That's my definition of result. I have no time for these usually fathers shouting about 50-50. Shut up. Because when the mother gave birth, you were not pushing as well. It wasn't 50-50. That's nature, all right? So I don't have a problem with the mother being the primary parent. What I have a major problem with is the system facilitating and promoting false allegations. That means the mother's going to be the sole parent.
Right.
That is my anger. So as far as I'm concerned, it should never go below 35% of the child's free time. That should be the starting position, I might add, not the 0 we currently have.
Yes.
And that is a waste of time given out about the mother, unless there's a finding the fact when you can adequately state what, well, and the Court of Appeals has changed that recently, as you no doubt know.
Yeah.
But it's a complete waste of time bad-mouthing the mother, because you're in an adversarial system where she has the children. So you're not just up against her, you're up against her and the state, operating in secret with unlimited funds and unlimited powers. And this is what men can't understand, because they keep talking about, I have my rights to see my child. No, you have no rights. I parental responsibility. The first sentence and the second paragraph, parental responsibility, clearly states if you're not living with the children, parental responsibility does not give you the right to see them. If you don't understand does not, you're not going to go very far. When people start shouting about their rights in law, I direct them to Section 2, Subsection 4 of the Children Act. The wording is the father is no longer the natural guardian of his child. Since 1989. Realistically, what that means is, and I've heard it written, seen it written in the past by Boris's blogs and that for the avoidance of doubt, the father is no longer the legal guardian of his children. So if you don't understand no longer, now I know emotionally that's very difficult to take in.
Yes.
It was extremely difficult.
Yeah.
And that is the bulwark that destroys so many fathers, litigants in person, because they are emotionally non-functioning. They're all over the place. Logically, they're greatly reduced function.
Yes.
I would say it took me 6-8 months to get back to my normal functionality, and that was in the finding of fact with a very good Mackenzie friend, which is a job that you do. But if you want to assume that I have ability based on the book and the Ombudsman's investigations, and had a very good Mackenzie friend, and we had judges who want to get to the bottom of this, and who threw out all the Brent nonsense, and I might add the Kafka's nonsense as well. I mean, but that took 20 hearings almost. Who can get through all that? What average person has got a support network? Yeah, I had houses when I holidays with the children. I had other people's houses I could go to. The children used to know, and the wonderful times. Who else has that network of the working class community, shall we say? No such thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so the system is so rigged, it's almost impossible to get over. But what I would say to fathers is, and 99.9% of the time it is wasted. Number one, learn how to fight to survive in this business. And then when you get a result with your children, then work about changing the system. But no, they all want to shout about it now.
Yeah.
It ain't going to happen now.
No. No.
So that, and there's no change. While you have an adversarial system with profiteering, ideologically and financially, that will not change.
Yeah.
And once again, the only people you can blame is men for allowing it to happen. Because they stood on the sidelines. Oh, we'll give the little women this, we'll give the little women that. I often think that modern men is like the horse in Animal Farm. Must work harder, must work harder. Stupidity, to my simple mind, you asked me about intellectual background earlier. It's very simple. To my simple mind, nature has never changed. It will always take advantage of the weak. That's nature. That's evolution. And we have a process in the family courts where the weak, because of the gender, are the fathers, and if a massive system set up to take advantage of that. And until the people who have been taken advantage of do something about it, it will only increase, because it's always in nature to increase. Now, what makes me believe that there may be improvements in it is I look at the Catholic Church in Ireland from a position of total omnipotence and fallibility to self-destruction. I look at the Berlin Wall, things like this. I have seen some of the biggest changes. I look at the rights for black people in North America. I grew up watching the riots in the 60s, late 60s and all the rest. So I've seen those things change. I've seen Northern Ireland change massively. AC peace in Northern Ireland, my own home province. That's equivalent to me growing black hair on top of my head. So it can be changed, but there is so little appetite to change. That's so depressing.
It is.
So you have weak litigants in person because the system is so strong. You then have virtually no carry on afterwards, no follow on to bring about improvements, to help others to bring about improvements. And that's why it's the way it is. People aren't doing anything about it. Edmund Burke was right. The greatest mistake anyone ever made was to do nothing because you thought you could only do a little. I have that in the book as well.
Which reminds me, somebody who's watching this is Vincent's kindly offered to do a signed copy, and we can give that to somebody who's watching.
You give me the name and address, or I'll send it to you and you send it on.
Perfect. Finally, you've done, well, you have worked with the shared parenting charity Families Need Fathers for so many years. And in fact, I noticed that in your book, you gave shout out to the Welsh counterparts, Paula Prida.
Particularly the Welsh counterparts, yeah.
Paula Prida, Anna Reagan, of course, we all go kind of
absolutely. Great respect for that woman has done. Among the most capable people in this business are a few grandmothers. Erin Pitsey, Anna Reagan. Yeah. You know, I mean, look what she's accomplished. And you get all these spoofers of men that are going to do this, going to do that. If you get off the butt, they might do something. A great regard for Paula Prida, the work he does and all the rest. I mean, I'm not totally a mouthpiece for the national charity in England because I have reservations about some of the, as I said in the book, and I've no reason to change that. No. Someone asked me to explain why I don't work closer with not with the trustees, but with the national office. And once again, out of somewhere, I don't know where it came from, I says, my energy and their inertia are non-aligned.
I love that.
I think I like that too myself. I don't know where it came from. I surprised myself, Michaela.
Inspired, Vincent.
Eh? You what?
It's inspired.
Madness can be very inspiring.
Amen to that.
Someone once asked me what's needed to be a volunteer in this business. Once again, I came up with my definition of, I says, you need 3 ingredients to be a volunteer in this business. You need to be a bit of a nutter, a hard worker, and a bit of a brain. The problem is, in all of these affected groups, the nutters are the hardest workers, and they dominate the few brains that exist. And that I see I'm 14 years involved with Families Need Fathers and other shared parenting associations. And that's what I see all the time. The endless cinnamon wheel, endless energy. The circle gets tighter and tighter, comes to a stop. Yeah. It's like an electrical circuit that the fuse has been pulled out of. They go fine till they get to where the impact was in life, and then it's endless loop. Yeah. It's like being a McDonald's, isn't the bad music.
Vincent, thank you so much.
Thank you more, Michaela.
And thank you, seriously.
And Stephen.
Yeah, you have inspired loads of people, and you've got a meeting tonight, haven't you?
Yeah, it's the usual weekly meeting tonight, of which I would say at least a quarter of the time will be wasted trying to get them to just observe basic discipline, which is answer the question you are asked, please, and not the long statements you want to make. You come across that, no doubt?
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. Well, we're doing something. I would far rather be doing something than doing nothing. I couldn't live with doing nothing. And through this business, I met people such as yourself, Stephen, and lots of others. I have to say that the wisdoms, small w, that Stephen puts on the social media and times for how to conduct your case, I absolutely applaud them. But what he needs is a large hammer to hammer it into people's heads.
I know.
He's too delicate.
He's not. Trust me, he's not.
Oh, don't be frightening me. Don't be frightening me.
Right, guys, I hope you've really found that useful. Any comments, pop them down in the comments below. Any questions you want, pop them down. And all that leaves me to say is, Vincent, it has been an absolute privilege. Thank you so much.
And equally. Thank you, Michaela. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.